Good morning, my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to talk to you students through video presentations like this as usual. In the previous video, I started discussing some board type problems with a new pattern. I was able to discuss the first 6 one-mark problems. In this particular video presentation, we will continue from the 7th problem. 7th problem goes like this. Evaluate limit x tends to 3 mod x minus 3 by x minus 3. Okay, we'll just think about the answer now. Let me think about LHL at x equal to 3 is equal to, this is LHL means left hand limit x tends to 3 minus mod x minus 3 by x minus 3, which is equal to limit x tends to 3 minus of x minus 3 by x minus 3. Since you have mod x minus 3 is equal to x minus 3 if x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0, minus of x minus 3 if x minus 3 less than 0. Therefore, this will be is equal to x minus 3 if x greater than or equal to 3 minus of x minus 3 if x less than 3. Therefore, x tends to 3 minus means x is the value below 3. Therefore, this will be reduced to x tends to 3 minus of minus 1, which is minus 1. Now, similarly, RHL at x equal to 3 will be limit x tends to 3 plus, it will be mod x minus 3 by x minus 3. 3 plus means it's a value above 3. Is nearer to 3 and greater than 3. Therefore, it will be reduced to x minus 3 by x minus 3, which is limit x tends to 3 plus of 1. Therefore, LHL is equal to minus 1, RHL is equal to plus 1, LHL not equal to RHL. Therefore, limit x tends to 3 mod x minus 3 by x minus 3 does not exist. That is the meaning. This is how, actually you may think it's a problem, more a problem in 11th standard, but the question may be given in a different way. F of x equal to this much. I'll just explain the other way around. It may be tested in your board examination, which is x minus mod x minus 3 by x minus 3 if x not equal to 3. Then it is k if x equal to 3. Okay. Irrespective of the value of k, it is discontinuous x equal to 3. This is how the question may be given. Here I'll do the same way. LHL will be equal to minus 1, RSL will be equal to plus 1. LHL not equal to RSL implies limit itself won't exist. And the limit itself does not exist. I mean to say the function is discontinuous at the point x equal to 3. Actually, for this particular problem, it stops only here. I'm talking about the another one which I am added just now. Okay, here therefore whatever may be the value of k will become discontinuous x equal to 3. That is another way of testing the same problem. Okay, let me repeat the whole process. Here limit x tends to 3 minus for any value below 3 mod x minus 3 is minus of x minus 3. See here, now for it gets reduced to minus 1. Limit x tends to 3 plus means mod x minus 3 gets reduced to x minus 3. X minus 3 by x minus 3 gets reduced to 1. For LHL not equal to RHL. For minus 1 not equal to 1. When the limit itself does not exist, I mean to automatically the conclusion I give LHL not equal to RSL will imply limit does not exist. If it's a problem given on continuity, here the question may be given like this. If this is given, irrespective of the value of k, the function will be discontinuous. I am supposed to show. Here limit is not existing, therefore function is discontinuous x equal to 3. Now, for whatever may be the value of k, it will be discontinuous. Therefore, we will give the conclusion, irrespective of the value of k, it will be discontinuous. Okay, that is the way it will be normally given. Therefore, I will show answer 7 to you here. Okay, answer 7 to you. You can just see quickly. I will show it for 2 minutes. I think we're able to watch. I think I'll move on to the next problem. Eighth one goes like this. Eighth problem goes like this. Evaluate integral dx by dx divided by x plus 12 into x plus 10. Evaluate, this is my eighth problem. Evaluate integral dx by x plus 12 into x plus 10. Just listen carefully. Answer goes like this. Dx by x plus 12 into x plus 10. Actually, it's a problem on partial fractions. Whenever the numerator is 1, there are only two linear expressions over here. What I will do here is, I'll write the numerator as x plus 12 minus x plus 10. Then here x gets cancelled. 12 minus 10 is 2. Therefore, divide by 2. X plus 12 into x plus 10. This kind of adjustment will make the problem easier. You'll be able to do the problem in an easier way. Here minus of integral x plus 10 dx divided by x plus 12 into x plus 10. Therefore, this will be is equal to d of x plus 10 by x plus 10 minus half integral d of x plus 12 by x plus 12. Therefore, this will be is equal to half log mod x plus 10 minus half log mod x plus 12 plus c. Therefore, finally, this will get reduced to half log mod x plus 10 by x plus 12 plus c. Let me just repeat. It goes like this. Actually, integral dx by x plus 12 and x plus 10 is the problem given to you. I will just write the numerator 1 as x plus 12 minus x plus 12. Easy to remember. X plus the greater value minus x plus the smaller value. I write here x gets cancelled. 12 minus 10 is 2. There is an extra 2 I am able to get here. Therefore, divide by 2. I should not take any variable outside the integral. Since it is only a constant, I will be able to multiply and divide by 2. Here this 2 numerator can be written as, numerator in the 2 can be written as x plus 12 minus x plus 10. Now divide as 2 individual integrals. Write it as 2 integral separate integrals. Here x plus 12 gets cancelled. Here x plus 10 gets cancelled. Dx is the same as d of x plus 10. Dx is the same as d of x plus 12. d of x is dx, d of 10 is 0. d of x is dx, d of 12 is 0. Now, for why I am writing this is it's sort of form dt by t, it is log. Because students used to write whatever may be the denominator dx by something is log. It is wrong. It is always wrong. d of a function by the same function will always give you log of the denominator. Therefore, half log mod x plus 1 minus half log mod x plus 12 plus c. Half log mod x plus 10 by x plus 12 plus c. That is the final answer. Anyway, here if you apply partial fraction as the whole thing as a by x plus 12, b by x plus 10, etc., I will get my automatically you will get your a and b accordingly. Therefore, you can do it as a problem on partial fractions, or you can do in an easier way like this also. You can do in an easier way like this also. Okay, I'll show the 8th answer to you. This is the 8th answer. Just see. I think it's clear. Okay, we'll now move on to the next problem. Okay, or I'll just explain one more method for 8th problem itself. Okay, I'll explain one more method for 8th also. Okay, there is another method, second method, another method. There is another method for 8 also. Integral dx by x plus 12 into x plus 10, which is integral dx by x square plus 22x plus 120. Therefore, here I can make it as a perfect square. Okay, x square plus 2 into 11x plus 121 plus 120 minus 121. add 121 and subtract 121. Therefore, I can very well write this as a d of x plus 11 by x plus 11 the whole square minus 1 square. Therefore, this is the form du by u square minus 1 square, where my u is x plus 11. Therefore, this is 1 by 2 log mod u minus 1 by u plus 1 plus c. That is 1 by 2 log mod x plus 11 minus 1 by x plus 11 plus 1 plus c, which is 1 by 2 log mod x plus 10 by x plus 12. You will get the same answer. Okay, this is another method for the same thing. I repeat, I'll multiply the two linear expressions over here. It gets reduced to x square plus 12x plus 10x is 22x plus 120. 12 into 10 is 120. This 12 can be written as 2 into 11x. Therefore, to make this as a perfect square, add 121 and subtract 121. Therefore, this numerator dx can be written as d of x plus 11. This is x plus 11 the whole square minus 120 minus 121 is 1, which is 1 square anyway, which is the form du by u square minus 1 square, where u is x plus 11. Therefore, it comes under the format 1 by 2a log mod u minus a by u plus a. Your a is 1 here. 2 into a is 2 into 1, which is 2. Therefore, x plus 11 minus 1 becomes x plus 10. X plus 11 plus 1 becomes x plus 12. Therefore, both the methods are correct. Okay, in fact, I should say I'm giving you 3 different methods. If you're going to apply partial fractions, do it individually and get the values of a and b and do, or without using partial fraction, do it directly by writing numerator as x plus 12 minus x plus 10 and divide by 2 and then proceed, or multiply the whole thing similar to the way which is being done here and then proceed. Okay, this is another method for the 8th problem. This is second method for the 8th problem. Okay, this is another method for your 8th problem. Okay, next one, question number 9. Evaluate. It is given integral e power x into tan x plus secant square x dx. Answer goes like this: integral e power x into tan x plus secant square x dx is equal to integral e power x tan x dx plus integral e power x secant square x dx. Here I will write it as tan x into d of e power x plus integral e power x into, this can be written as d of tan x. Let me apply integration by parts. E power x tan x minus integral e power x d of tan x plus integral e power x d of tan x. These two plus minus will get cancelled. This is e power x tan x plus c. Here I am applying the rule integral u dv is equal to uv minus integral v du, and here instead of u I have tan x, instead of v I have e power x. Let me just repeat, I am making it into two different integrals. Okay, for e power x into tan x plus secant square x is e power x tan x dx plus e power x secant integral e power x secant square x dx. This tan x and d of e power x tan x dx can be written as d of e power x. This is the form u dv. You can put your hands and find out. This is my u, this is my v. Integral u dv is uv minus integral v du. That's the formula for integration by parts. Therefore, uv, that is tan x e power x or e power x tan x, either way you can write, minus integral e power x d of tan x plus integral e power x d of tan x. These two will get cancelled. E power x tan x plus c is the final answer. Or you may even use the formula integral e power x into f of x plus f dash of x dx is e power x f of x plus c. Here f of x equal to tan x. Therefore, you can replace this by e power x into f of x plus f dash of x dx by f of x equal to tan x is equal to e power x f of x is the formula, and you can replace f of x by tan x. I'll just show you the answer. Okay, I'll just show you the answer. See, this is the 14th answer. Both the answers are written here. Just see. Sorry, question number 9. I said it as 14, sorry. Question number 9. I think you are able to go through what I discussed as well as what I am showing now in the handwritten form in my notebook. Yeah. Okay, then question number 10. I'll do question number 10. Okay, I will just do question number 10. Just listen carefully. Question number 10 goes like this. Okay, find a vector of length 10 units in the opposite direction of A vector is equal to I minus 2j plus 7k. Okay, vector of length 10 units in the opposite direction of A vector will be minus 10 A cap, which is minus 10 A vector by modulus A vector. It is minus 10 into, this is I cap minus 2j cap plus 7k cap by root of 1 square plus minus 2 the whole square plus 7 square. This is minus 10i plus 20j minus 70k divided by, anyway this will be 49, 50, 54, root 54. Okay, along the same direction means I'll write 10a cap. In the opposite direction means I should put a minus sign. Okay, I repeat, vector of length 10 units in the opposite direction of A vector is minus 10a cap. It's actually, if you are going to think about, you might have seen some problems in lower classes. If the cost of 10 apples is 100 rupees, what is the cost of 25 apples? I'll divide by 10. 100 by 10 gives you 10. It is called unitary method. Okay, and into 25 we give you the corresponding cost for 25 apples. Similarly, okay, cost of 10 apples is 1000 rupees according to the present situation. Okay, I gave you as 100, I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, vector of length 10 units, therefore the unit vector along the same direction is given by A vector by modulus A, give you the unit vector along the same direction, into 10 give you the vector of length 10 units in the same direction. The minus sign gives you the vector in the opposite direction. Therefore, I'll get it to be minus 10i plus 20j minus 70k divided by this reduction 49 plus 1 50, 50 plus 4 54, root 54. That is the answer. That is the answer. You just see here. This is my answer 10. This is my answer 10. Okay, now question number 11. Just see, get the simplest form of, just listen carefully, get the simplest form of sine inverse 2x root of 1 minus x square. Okay, get the simplest form of sine inverse 2x root of 1 minus x square, and you are given a condition. Okay, minus 1 by root 2, minus 1 by root 2, less than or replace less than or equal to 1 by root 2. Just listen carefully. Sine inverse 2x root of 1 minus x square. Put x equal to sine theta. There is a purpose. Let me just see. Therefore, sine inverse of 2x root of 1 minus x square will be equal to sine inverse 2 sine theta root of 1 minus sine square theta, which is reduced to sine inverse 2 sine theta cos theta, which is reduced to sine inverse sine 2 theta, which is 2 theta, which is theta becomes automatically sine inverse x. Theta becomes sine inverse x may call it as this is from 1. But for this I am supposed to give the reason 1 by root 2. For this I am supposed to give the reason 1 by root 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 1 by root 2, which implies minus 1 by root 2 less than or equal to, minus 1 by root 2 less than or equal to 1 by root 2, sin theta less than or equal to 1 by root 2, which implies I'll think about sin inverse on either side. This will become minus pi by 4 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to pi by 4, because sin inverse sin theta is theta here. Sin inverse minus 1 by root 2 is minus pi by 4. Sin inverse sin minus 45 degrees will be minus 1 by root 2. Let me multiply throughout by 2. Therefore, minus pi by 2 less than or equal to 2 theta less than or equal to pi by 2. Therefore, sin inverse sin 2 theta becomes 2 theta. Let me just repeat. Sin inverse 2x root of 1 minus x square. Put x equal to sin theta. Therefore, this becomes 2 sin theta root of 1 minus sin square theta. 2 sin theta cos theta. Sin inverse sin 2 theta. 2 theta, which is 2 sin inverse x. Only for this, I'll supply the reason like a side. X is sin theta. Therefore, sin inverse sin theta, I'll take it as theta. Sin inverse 1 by root 2 is pi by 4, because sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. Here sin inverse sin minus pi by 4 is minus 1 by root 2. Therefore, I take it as minus pi by 4. Multiply throughout by 2 theta. Therefore, 2 theta lies in the principal value branch of range of sin inverse function. Therefore, sin inverse sin 2 theta gets reduced to 2 theta. Theta is replaced by sin inverse x. Therefore, whole thing gets reduced to 2 sin inverse x. Okay, 2 sin inverse x. Okay, let me just explain the 12th one also and show the notebook to you. Okay, write the smallest equivalence relation on A is equal to 1, 2, 3. Smallest equivalence relation on A is equal to 1, 2, 3. Smallest equivalence relation on A is equal to, I'll have 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Unless these three elements are there, it won't satisfy reflexive relation. Therefore, it will automatically satisfy symmetricity and transitivity also. Therefore, smallest equivalence relation on A will be 1, 1, 2, the set containing 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Okay, I'll show 11 and 12 to you here. Just see here, 11 and 12. Go through 11th and 12th. Okay, it's already almost 24 minutes. I'll continue the rest in the next video. Thank you students for patient watching. If you want to have automatic notification about the new videos being uploaded, subscribe and click the bell icon also. Okay, subscription has no charges. Forward it to your friends also so that they can also make use of it. Thank you.